2025 will be my 10th year of working in Overwatch Esports as broadcast talent. I was there at the very start in 2016 when the beta was officially being played and the game wasn't even released yet. I competed professionally for Rogue, later on for Misfits in 2017, and I competed for Sweden in 2018 and 2017 as well. And I started my broadcast analyst journey in 2016 at the Overwatch World Cup, where some of your favorite streamers and players got together to compete on a global stage for the first time. Since then, a lot of things have changed. Obviously, we had the 2017 World Cup, but also the 2018, which was the start of the Overwatch League chapter, and everything that came with that. Everything that happened during 2018 and 2019 when we were in the Blizzard Arena. In 2020 and 2021, we were doing a virtual broadcast with the desk, and we actually weren't in person at all. 2022, we were in a truck on Blizzard campus, and suddenly we got to be able to do our work in person again. Of course, in 2022, it was the first year of playing 5v5. We were playing a game that wasn't even released yet for public consumption. And finally, of course, in 2023 was the last year of the Overwatch League. We finally got together in a studio in Burbank again, and things seemed like it was going back to normal until the Overwatch League was no more. And OWCS kicked off last year in 2024. 2025 will be the second year of OWCS, and I'm expecting a lot of great changes, a lot of building on the year prior, and improvements to be made. In this video, however, I'm going to focus on the years that span and looking back at the past and talking about my journey, how I got started as an analyst and transitioned from being a pro player to now, of course, doing my 10th year working the Overwatch Esports broadcast. I hope you'll enjoy going down this rabbit hole with me, whether it's recognizing how polished and formal the broadcasts were at times, or just how different the state of the game really was. Needless to say, I think things have gotten better since the start in 2016, and I'm looking forward to another year of building a future for Overwatch, the game, but also Overwatch, the esport. Finally, before we get things going, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, leave a comment down below. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation and throwback, and I'll see you in the next video. Earlier today, it was announced that I'm returning to OWCS to be broadcast talent once again. It's my 10th year. It's my 10th year. Can you guys believe that? It's been my 10th year. 2016, Overwatch World Cup was my very first event. And if you actually count on your fingers the years, including 2016, this is the 10th year I'll be on air. So they announced, we're returning with a similar roster as last year. So I wanted to go through all the years. I wanted to go through all the years, what has changed, how my role has changed, my journey, and everything going on in between. And it all started with the Overwatch World Cup in 2016, where I was invited to be a player analyst. So to set the mood here, why don't we put on some old school classic little music here? Just to set the stage. I found the talent announcement. Look at this. Look at this 2016 World Cup. I mean, who is this kid? Who is this kid? This will be on YouTube, but I'm playing my code limit time. Go for it. Everyone looks so young. I mean, this was like 10 years ago. Or well, this was more like 9 years ago. Dyrus Reporter, Golden Boy, Jason Kaplan, Monte Cristo and Doa, Uber and D-Man. Things were different back then. Wait, I just noticed Observer Sliggy? Wait, hold up. I didn't even see this until now. So yeah, things were a little bit different back then. We were wearing suits. Jackets, ties. I still remember how I walked into, I needed to shop for this because I didn't have a wardrobe. I was just like a player. And I didn't have any of these clothes, and so I just had to walk into a store in Sweden. I was like, I don't know how to do this. I just need ties and shirts, and they were like, we'll get you 5 pastel dress shirts, and you'll be grand. And I was like, great, awesome, sick. Matt was a pain in the ass the entire event. He just never gave me a break. And it was honestly a fun event because it was not like a typical World Cup, for those of you who remember, where they just invited the best players, where there was like a committee and they had to like choose the best players. It was more like Wikipedia Overwatch World Cup. It was more like influencers and streamers and, you know, pro players who were like kind of well known. So if you actually look at the rosters of some of these teams, United States, Seagull, Stir, Tailspin, Adam, Gods, Messer, I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. And obviously really good players for their time at the time, but it was still more like, you know, look at France. It was AlphaCast, Migalo, Kitty, Digan, Nox, Crib. It was just like some teams had like, you know, sent their best, and others sent like, you know, famous streamers. Masalk on Team Australia. Yeah, that's right. So it was a bit different in that regard. There you go. Masalk on Australia. With some other pretty familiar names. So Finland, I mean, looked pretty stacked. Sapis, Taimu, Mafu, Tini, Himsi, Linkser. So it was a pretty interesting event in that regard. Now, I didn't get picked for Team Sweden because there were two main tanks at the time. It was between me and Coco, and instead of me. I don't even know who decided, if it was like a fan vote or something like that, or if someone picked. But Coco ended up being the main tank for Sweden, and so they were like, yo, Reinforce, do you want to join us as like a broadcast analyst? Because otherwise you'll just be at home doing nothing. So I was like, great, I'll come on. I'll be a broadcast analyst, and we'll kind of see how it goes. So I show up like this, and on my first day, the guy in charge, I don't know what his actual title was, but it was kind of like overseeing the broadcast. He hands me a razor and he says, please go to your hotel room and shave. Because I rocked up so disheveled. I didn't get a haircut. I was just, you know, a pro player. And I didn't, you know, have a sense of, quote unquote, looking good for broadcast. So pretty average pro player, just showing up in that regard. I took notes. Took a lot of notes back then. And it was overall a pretty weird experience. I remember one time during rehearsal, I first of all never been on a rehearsal set before. Everyone was really professional. There was a big expectation on that, like, you know, we're gonna be clean. This is a big deal. Overwatch Game of the Year, super polished. We're hyping this up. This is the next big thing in esports. It's gonna pop off. And I remember one time during rehearsal, for whatever reason, I think it was Matt or someone was just like cracking jokes. And there's an actual word for this, that when actors, when they're on like a comedy set or something, they'll just start laughing, like uncontrollably start cry laughing, and they just can't stop themselves. And then they're like try to stop themselves from laughing, but they just keep laughing. There's an actual word for this, but I can't remember it. And I had that during Hysteria. It might have been something like that. But I had this during rehearsal, and I literally held up rehearsal for like 20 minutes because I was so embarrassed. And I don't know, it was just, then I got like choked up and everything. It was super uncomfortable. So I just was very unfamiliar with the whole broadcasting. So I was so green, such a rookie. I had no idea how things really worked, you know, on the big stage back then. So it was a fun first event, though. You know, it gave me a taste of being an analyst, because I was, you know, kind of like at the peak of my pro career at this time. Did you become an analyst almost accidentally, or were you just there at the right time? I mean, I was literally just like competing professionally. And obviously, I was competing in Germany for Atlantic Showdown. And then I was also competing in China. And, you know, we met a lot of, you know, Blizzard people who were like working on the Blizzard Esports program, because they traveled with us. They were there overseeing the tournaments. And, you know, they were chatting to us about the esports side of things. They were chatting to us about the game, you know, what we thought, and stuff like that. So I just spent time around like Blizzard people who were working on the esports program. And I guess I was one of the more like outward going players. I was one of the more like, I did the interviews when they wanted us to do like content. I was the player on my teams that they were like, Johnny, you go do it, you know, you go shoot the content pieces. I think there's a content piece of me at E-League or something. They like interview me, and then there's like a basketball studio, and I fail to dunk or something like that. Like I can't jump, even though I'm pretty tall. And so I think because I was just like kind of the I don't want to say the face of my team, but because I did all the content and I was a pretty good interview, I suppose. I think when I didn't work that event, I think they were like, well, you know, let's take a shot at this guy because we need someone who's played the game at a high level and can be like our player kind of analyst, right? And also before Overwatch even came out, I used to work in esports. I worked at DreamHack events. I worked at a place called The Good Studio, had an esports show, and I worked in production for them, and I helped them out with production and stuff like that. And so I had some experience of like working in esports. I have some experience of like working on a broadcast, working in production and stuff like that, right? But nothing the size of this. And so I think they just looked at me and saw me as someone who had, you know, could be a good candidate for being a former pro who like transitioned to be on the desk. But this first event was literally just like, you're not playing, and so we think this could be a good role for you. And so this was right in between the Apex Season 1 season. So if we actually go to Apex Season 1, the group stage took place, I guess it was in like late October and early November. So let's look at our matches here. So yeah, late October, November 14th, and then the World Cup happens end of November, and then there's a bit of a break. So the first playoff matches took time. Oh, November 18th actually. Was I wrong about this? November 21st. No, yeah. So there was like a month in between. There was like a month in between the group stage. Am I stupid? Yeah, November 14th. Oh, I guess there wasn't a break. I'm confused. Oh, sorry. There was a break between Apex and Apex Premier. That's right. So Apex Premier takes place and runs until October, late October. And so we play this event. We win this event. We beat Lunatic High. And then after this is the Overwatch World Cup for 2016. And so there's like a month there between this tournament and Apex Season 1, which we got invited to play. And so everyone goes to do the World Cup thing. There's no like team scrims or anything that I'm missing, because all the French players on my team, and you know, Twick as well, they were playing in the World Cup. So I'm just literally like, I'm the only one on like a top team who's not playing in the World Cup. And so that's why they invited to be an analyst. It was not like I missed anything. And so I do the Overwatch World Cup. I thought I found a clip. I found this video just to give you a sense of what it looked like. So Temple of Anubis here. It's Russia versus South Korea. It's the grand final. Russia, what a powerhouse back then. Godspeed, Unfixed, Rubicon, I like Shadowburn. If you look at South Korea, it's Tyrong, Arhan, Sunba, Rijihong, Eska, Miro. And just to show you in between here as well. So this is obviously at BlizzCon. This is like in the big arena. But even before this, we were playing at a Burbank, I think. There was a big kind of like studio or something like that in Burbank by the Burbank airport. And they had like massive qualifiers. I'm talking like all the teams were in like a huge hall scrimming at the same time. Like the size was ridiculous. Imagine the Overwatch League, but they put all the Overwatch League teams in one massive room, and they all just scrimmed at the same time. the size was just like unbelievable. It was so crazy to see everyone come together at that time. You know, some older graphics there, of course. You see eliminations, deaths, damage done, ultimate kills, damage reflected. So things were pretty different back then. Let's see if there's any more crowd shots here. Oh, here's the desk. So I found a desk segment. I haven't watched this, by the way.
How well is Shadowburn going to perform against this team of South Korea, against a team who can kind of eliminate him?
Winston uses his shield to block out healing. You know, if there's a shield in your way, the Ana can't get any healing done. The Lucio can't even get any healing
Great
done.
analysis right there.
You have to play around the shields. You almost have to play a disengaged game because you have to make sure your healers can actually assist you, and that hasn't happened here. Right.
Sick analysis there, Johnny. Great job. Nice accent, by the way. Nice accent. I think this was also like the event where they pitched everyone. They pitched everyone on the Overwatch League at this event, and so they got, I think, a lot of investors as like VIP guests somewhere around here, and they were like, "Yo, check out this Overwatch World Cup. You know, look at what we're cooking here. Do you wanna do this Overwatch League thing?" That's how I think it all got started and how they started pitching people on it. So it was very, like, you could just see like the way people were dressing as well. I mean, this was grand final, so it's not too dissimilar from now, but it was very like polished. It was very just like formal in the way they wanted things to feel like very epic in that regard. So it was pretty different. What's up, Tabmaster? How are you? So yeah, that was my first taste of being an analyst for Overwatch. Why is this not working? Oh, right, because it's a slideshow. So we go on to 2017, and I'm back. We're so back. How did you start to really learn how to be an analyst? Was it something you learned over time? Yeah, I mean, you take notes, you review, you talk to people, you get a sense for it, and you just keep working at it a little bit. So there's 4 stops, and you can see that the talent have flags, which represent which event they were at. There were 4 different events. It was Shanghai, it was Australia, Sydney, Australia, Katowice, Poland, and Los Angeles in the USA. So, you know, some of these people, they participated in all of them. Some only participated in some of them. So I worked on Katowice, and I worked on Los Angeles. And I was playing in Sydney, actually. And I had nothing to do with Shanghai because I was playing at the time. So I was playing for Misfits. You know, we did that Rogue to Misfits kind of like trade transfer thing in December of 2016. And we keep playing with Misfits. And I can't remember when I actually got my offer, like calendar. But there was a big tournament, the biggest tournament in Europe at the time, because this was the year where nothing happened in Overwatch Esports for the most part. Like, there were no big like LAN events or anything. We had gone from like Apex Premier and Apex Season 1. There was pretty much only Apex. Apex was the big thing for like Premier teams, but there were no like big major events outside of that, really. So we were signed to Misfits, and we're just playing like online tournaments. That was all there was. There was just like online tournaments. And there was nothing really else for us to play outside of Apex if we got invited. And you had to be invited. So imagine there's like 6 to 8 good teams in EU and in NA. And they're all just like messaging like the Apex folk. It's like, please invite us, please invite our org, please don't invite us to org. Because like none of these orgs had any big LAN events to play in, and everyone just wanted to play in the best tournament, which was Apex. There were no qualifiers, so you just had to be invited as like, you know, an NA or EU team. So Takeover was the big one. We bomb out of Takeover. We were supposed to be like one of the best teams in EU, like top 2, I think. It was us or United. And we bombed out of groups, actually. So, you know, we did terribly. Considering like the contracts we had and how good we were supposed to be, we just bombed out, which is a story for another time, because I can talk all about that experience and like why we performed as poorly as we did and everything leading up to it. But that's the story for another time. So they come back to me and they're like, yo, the World Cup is happening again. We know you're playing this time for Sweden and Australia, but do you want to come work for Katowice and the United States? And I'm like, cool, I'm in. And somewhere around this summer as well is Contender Season 0. Again, my team does terribly. We bomb out in groups. We lose to some fucking team called Bazooka Puppies. That about tells you how disappointing that was. And essentially the team is doing like major shakeups. Or like, you know, we're just like so depressed that we're like something has to change with the team, because obviously we're pretty unhappy with the results. And so what happens is I go off to do these events. We actually qualify, of course. Team Sweden. We qualify in Sydney, in Australia. And we actually played Australia as well in our group to qualify for the 2017 World Cup. I believe in you, video. You can do it. Look at these rosters. Australia, Sweden. We got Swoosh, Tvik, Reinforced, Chips Hyan, Sebasai, Manhattan. Versus Atar, Trill, RQT, I Eat You Up, Kiki, and Gunba. Gunba's playing the Sombra. Big brain. I mean, look at these comps. Can we just appreciate these comps? Tracer Genji, Winston Ana, Lucio, Diva.
They still have players at this point contesting it, not letting Sweden get progress. Sweden struggling to throw them off, but the EMP comes out. Australia coming back in again.
Trill's found Chips Hyan again. Both supported down for Sweden. Australia holding on once again. Tvik can't even stand up, and now things are getting...
So we're playing Australia in Australia, which was really fun because the Australian crowd was one of the best crowds I've ever played in front of. Thank God we captained the very final fight here. But the Australian crowd was just honestly awesome. It was a fantastic event. It was one. I mean, I just played a handful of events, but honestly, playing in front of the Australian crowd was freaking awesome. By the way, you know, it was also a fun event because Overwatch put us in a 5-star hotel, which was also like a casino. Like the money at the time for Overwatch World Cup was just just hilarious, but it was fun, needless to say. But yeah, it was really fun to play in Australia. Obviously, they're rooting against us in this matchup, but then, you know, I was having fun with the crowd. Whenever I played on stage, I was pretty emotive, I suppose I could say, where I was shouting a lot, popping off a lot, and having fun with the crowd. And so I think I won the crowd over after this match. Tvik carrying again, double pulls. I want to know who approved those budgets. I don't know. Bobby Kotick? I have no idea. Oh, did we get held here? Oh no. We might have, I don't even remember if we might have lost this match, to be honest. I don't remember. But we qualified anyway. We beat Spain. We beat Spain in a match to qualify for Blizzard, and we qualified. Big pop off. But we might have lost to Australia. I can't remember. Maybe I should look this up. For the purpose of the video, let's look this up. 2017 World Cup. 2017, here we go. Sydney. And so, yeah, we actually got beat. Oh, we lost to... Oh, we drew with Portugal. Wow. And we beat Australia and we beat Italy. So, I mean, that was one heck of an upset. But we were actually happy about playing... We got to play Spain. I have no idea, by the way, how... I mean, I guess they were tied. I have no idea. Oh, we were tied for one, all of us? This is crazy. What was the Portuguese team? Addicted, Horthic, Killer for Fun, Mosasa, Gray, Fat. And so Portugal. Okay, you can't actually see it. Sorry. I wonder if I can move this around. I assume. Okay, it really doesn't want to show Portugal. Here we go. So Portugal was one of those teams in the World Cup, which, if you're experienced with Overwatch, you know this by now. Some teams in the World Cup, Thailand is the same. They just like, we're just gonna go hyper aggro, and we're just gonna go speed boost and just go in. And at the time, because Overwatch was so new, those teams actually did pretty well because they just throw off these teams by playing super aggro. Teams were so bad back then that they couldn't like adapt accordingly. So Portugal was one of those teams that just like you had no idea what they were going to play. We had no prep. We hadn't scrimmed them. We had no idea what they were going to do. And they just come out and they just like throw this like hyper aggro dive against you. And if you're not like adapting in the moment and playing around that, then you're going to lose a couple of maps. And so Team Thailand was the same thing early on. Where they just came out and played like super aggro, became a fan favorite. Thailand was one of the fan favorite teams from like 2016 to like 2018 because no one knew of any of those players, but they just came out and were like upsetting teams in the World Cup. So Portugal was one of those teams. So I guess we drew against them. We were actually quite happy playing against Spain because even though they had a pretty good lineup, I think we had a pretty good read on them and we were pretty comfortable playing against them. If I recall correctly, they were playing more like soldier stuff, and obviously we were playing like pretty dive heavy stuff. So we were just like, we can just play Winston dive and like we're gonna be fine against them. Japan was a team that we actually didn't want to face. I can't remember why, but I just remember we were pretty happy about playing Spain in a way. So a bit of I'm kind of like being thrown off here, but anyway, Sweden qualifies, and then after I'm like, okay, this video is passing out. I don't know what's happening here. What if I go back? Okay, here we go. And so after Australia, there's a time where Contenders is not really going on, and in my team in Misfits, we were kind of going through like, what are we doing with our roster? Something has to change. We're obviously getting dominated, and we need to make a change for the organization because they were like, this is unacceptable results considering your contracts. But I go off and I'm like, okay, there's no tournaments. I'm just gonna go be an analyst. So I go to Katowice in Poland, and then I also work Los Angeles. So I think this VOD actually, yeah, this is Katowice. So you can see this was 2017 World Cup. Got Zoe, Golden Boy. They're going through the Russian roster right now. Again, it looks a little bit different from how things are this day. So it's me and Jamerson on the desk. Wow, look at this. Look at this broadcast compared to what we got now. Playing in Canada, there's Agilities. Wow, look at that. Mangachu. XQC, Surefor. Wow. Well, this is a banger matchup. Canada, Russia. There was a banger matchup for way back in the day. And so I'm working this event. And before the event, on the rehearsal day, the teams are scrimming. So you have some time. You can like watch scrims if you want to. You can like chat with the players. Some nice fun back and forth. And we have like the broadcast room is like right next to like the player scrim area. And I go over, and South Korea is at this event, I'm pretty sure. And I go to watch South Korea scrim, and I notice some familiar names. And they're actually, I look at the kill feed, and it's like Swoosh. And I'm like, And I'm like, Tvick. And I'm like, oh, okay. Interesting. And then it's Sebosai, and I'm like, wait a minute. I recognize this team. And I realized while spectating the South Korea scrim that Misfits are trialing people without having let me know. So they've effectively booted me off the Misfits roster, but they didn't tell me. So I found out versus watching them scrim South Korea, which I'm about to cover in the World Cup event. Anyway, regardless, I found out I'm booted off the team. That's the short story of that. But I'm still on the Team Sweden, right? I'm still on Team Sweden. I'm going to play in BlizzCon. So I do this event. And honestly, by the way, can I just say, pretty dumb of me of being a pro player and not being like, yeah, I can totally take like a month off or like 2 weeks off and work the World Cup. My team is not going to care. They're going to be fine with me just taking 2 weeks off. They're going to like, it was pretty stupid of me. If I really wanted to pursue being a pro player, pursue playing in the Overwatch League, like I should have prioritized that and just been like, my team is in distress right now. I should just like go figure this situation out with them. But essentially, they're like, we don't like playing with Reinforce's main tank, so we're going to replace him. And they got Swoosh to play the Winston instead. And that leads into the 2018 for the main roster. They pick up like Supe or something as well. That might have been after to play in Contender Season 1, EMEA. So, I mean, I was very ignorant for that time. So I should have seen that coming a mile away. But anyway, worked this event. I think there's a desk segment down here. So you can see us, we're covering. Malik doing an interview there with Mangachu. And I mean, just look at the look. Just look at it. Like, what the fuck am I wearing here? Okay, I'm just gonna remove myself from the screen. Like, what am I? What is bro wearing? What is this? Like, look at this. What is this haircut? What the hell is going on here? Oh my god. So, damn. What's up, Atomic Skull? This is Bond villain status. This is shambolic. This is awful. Oh my god. Oh no. Gray suit, black shirt, red tie. What the hell is going on? Like, anyway. So yeah. We're still new to the job. It's my second event, okay? It's my second event. Jacket seems a size too large. Look, I was a pro player at the time. I just walked into, like, I think in Sweden they have a store called like Dressman or something. I just walked in and was like, I need a large gray jacket for this broadcast. I had no designer help. I had no idea how to shop for myself. I just like, I need a jacket for this broadcast. And this is what I ended up with. And bro, have you thought about getting a haircut perhaps? Like, Jesus Christ. At least I followed up on that advice of shaving, which they gave me at 2016. You can also see I got a bit of that pro player flub going on here as well. Just playing video games and eating pizza and stuff like that. They did you wrong? No, I did me wrong. So anyway, please get a haircut next time. So there you go. 2017. Work at Katowice. I found out that I'm no longer on Misfits essentially. And it's a great time. So moving on. The next event, I actually couldn't find a disc segment for here. But we're in Santa Monica. We're in Los Angeles. It's USA. It's Jake. It's Jake popping off. The crowd going crazy. We got Jake, Sinatra, Adam Raucus, Fact Fiction, and Cool Matt against New Zealand. And you know this. I'm not gonna look this up because I'm just gonna like make this up. But I'm pretty sure they just put USA in like a very easy group with like no competition. There were no other great teams there because you know they just wanted them to dominate. But it was pretty sick. So just look at this crowd. Look at this crowd right here in the round end. So we're in Santa Monica, and we're in like an airport hangar. It's crazy. Like, it's a huge like airport hangar. So like it was just a really cool setting. There's the broadcast desk is up there, you can see. And so I worked this as well as an analyst. There you go. Jake. Captain America. And that, you know, this was my, I guess my third event working as an analyst. So it was fun. And I guess at this point, so this was the last kind of thing I was signed for to be an analyst for. And then I found out that I'm getting kicked off Misfits, essentially. I'm getting kicked off Misfits. And so I'm presented with this option of like, do I go home? Do I try to find a new team? Mind you, I don't have a lot of... Like, I would essentially have to like start from scratch. Like, I would just have to like go into Discords, trial for teams, make new friends, and be like, who needs a tank? And that was so daunting for me. That was so daunting to be like, I need to find a new group of friends. Because all the friends that I played with for so long, Marathon, Twick, You know, I guess Sebusai, Save, Manatano, said like I played with those guys for like 7 months at this time, and obviously the Rogue guys, you know, they got a French team going on, and it was so daunting for me to just be like, am I just like, who do I even talk to? Like, who do I even talk to about reaching out, like trialing or stuff like that? So I was like, either I could go home. I have no idea if there's going to be any opportunities for me. I have no idea if there's going to be teams looking for tanks. I just didn't have any friends. So I was just like, that was so scary. So at this event, Monty talks to me, and he's like, hey Johnny, you've been working a few events as analyst for us. You're improving. You're doing good work. You're doing better. What if you can stay at our place for a week or two, and then afterwards I can see if I can get you to work at Contender Season 1, which will be taking place in Denver. And so Monty, out of nowhere, or yeah, I guess out of nowhere, just goes like, hey dude, you can stay at my place, which is the kindest offer, to just be like, hey, you got some shitty news, you know, we have a spare bed, come stay at my place and I'll see what I can do for you. And so we go from the 2017 Santa Monica World Cup, and then afterwards, let's see if this slideshow works at this point. Video unavailable. What the fuck? It's Overwatch Contender Season 1.
Some great games, not only from the European region, but also North.
And it's Pocket.
6'7",
and it's Sideshow. And it's me. And it's the left guy. We're so back.
It's reinforced, sitting next to Side.
So, I guess at this point, I'm an analyst. I'm not retired, but I'm an analyst because I get money. They offered me money, and I was like, I would like money. I'm unemployed. I don't have a team. And so we work Overwatch Contenders for a while. It's a blast. It's essentially kind of like what we're doing now, where there's EMEA and NA, and we just cover it back to back. What's up, pot noodle? And
Show in the great
what a short player career. Yo! I was a pro for like a year. That was more than the 14-year-old me could have ever asked for. So, you know, okay, I'm no Twilight, but come on. So this was a great time. They had Contender Season 0, which I guess they were kind of like their intro. I can't remember Sideshow looking like that. Oh yeah, his hair has changed quite a bit. He's actually got hair. But yeah, I got invited for Season 1, and it was really fun because they put us in these like, I think this has a name, but I don't know what the name is, but it's like hotels, but they give you like a room with like a kitchen. Like it's a place you can actually live at for a while. And so we essentially like just live in Denver for probably more than a month, just doing Contender Season 1. And you know, I have a kitchen, and it's me, Bren, Sideshow, and then I think some of the American talent, they like flew in and out. And so on like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it'd just be like me, Brennan, Sideshow, and we'd be like just Europeans by ourselves in Denver, and we'd just be like, what do we do? And so we stayed next to like a very American kind of like Wild Wings kind of restaurant, and so we go there like once a week. We lived next to a salad place, which is like huge, amazing salads. There was a Wendy's. We freaking loved Wendy's. And that's kind of like what we had. That's what we had. And then, you know, we'd just be silly, what was this, 22-year-olds? Yeah, we'd just be silly 22-year-olds, just, you know, being in Denver. But it was a lot of fun. So CP, so it's me and Sideshow on the desk, and I can't remember if they wrote this, but then it's Bren and CP are casting. So they've separated Bren and Sideshow. So Sideshow is on the desk with me, and then it's Bren and CP casting. And
They've got the talent there. They've got the players there.
This was a lot of fun, by the way, because CP was definitely a bit more like polished, you know, and Bren was kind of like thrown in there, and you know, was having so much fun with it. It was a really fun pairing to listen to. And so we're covering these teams. We got 1, 2, 3, which was a really good team in season 1 against the United. This was like a pretty heavy, big hit matchup for the time, EMEA. Snillo, Fincy, Hafikul, Tonic, Bokwan, Denia. I think a few of these players were like no names at the time, but Contender Season 1 was their big come through, if I can recall correctly. And I think they got like 3rd or something. They might even got 2nd, actually. They were that good. And then they're playing against the United with Cruz, Falatage, Unfixed, Shurike, Boombox, and Morte. Which was, you know, been a heavy hitter. Like, they've been a top team, United, with a bit of a mix of a roster for over a year at this point. They've been really good. Like, top 2, top 3 EU for over a year, pretty much. Again, look at these comps, man. Winston, Genji, Zarya, Tracer, Sen.
Immediately, they need the damage to be done. They need to slam it home right now. But
DPS Doomfist.
with the post bomb.
DPS Doomfist, Tracer Soldier. I mean, this is overtime, so they probably swapped to just get back. But there was a triple DPS meta in 2017, actually, for some time. And so United actually played triple DPS quite a bit.
So now we look to Valtaya.
At least like early 2017. But it was good times.
That's big.
It's raining Bren. I don't know what this is. I'm not sure if I dare click it. Actually, you would never send me something. Oh, this is 2018. This is when me, Bren, and Sideshow, we lived together in 2018.
So that was my room in the loft, and now we're down into the kitchen.
What?
I can't. Yeah, I don't know. We were stupid. We were just idiots. we were just stupid idiots. Anyway. I don't know what to say. So yeah, we do season 1 of Contenders. It's a blast, and obviously I get so much experience. No alcohol there. I actually think we were sober at the time, but you know, we did have a few handles of rum and all that good stuff. Great times in 2018. But I get a lot of experience under my belt just working on broadcast, working as an analyst. Still haven't got a freaking haircut, man. I still have this freaking hair. Just look at someone like Puckett and then compare it to me. It's an atrocity. Ooh, look at these rosters. Wow. Cloud9, Space, Mosasa, Nevix, Mikey A, Grey, Neptuno. I mean, dude, these comps, I'm losing it. This was peak. So yeah, I get some more experience on my belt. It's a great time. It's a great time in Denver. I don't work the 2018 World Cup. I don't work that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Golden Boy is spazzing out of control. I'm sorry. Oops. Okay, we're still working on this, okay? They announce, guys, I'm doing the Overwatch League. I got announced for the Overwatch League. So I don't work the 2018 World Cup because they have to work on my visa for the Overwatch League, actually. At this point, I'm kind of like, I kind of want to return as a pro player. Like, obviously, Overwatch League was like the big thing, right? Overwatch League was like the big, massive thing. It's been hyped up since 2017 because it was announced at World Cup 2016, and it's been hyped up. And it's, of course, what everyone wants to do. They want to play in the Overwatch League. It's the most hyped thing ever. And obviously, I wanted to be part of that. But I don't have a team. I'm not competing. And so there were a few Overwatch League trials going on around this time. But for the most part, teams are just picking up rosters. And sometimes the rosters didn't make sense. And sometimes the rosters clearly didn't pick up the best players at the time. And so I'm not gonna name names here, But some teams where it was genuinely just like GMs just picked up like friends. They were just like, yo, I have some experience in the scene. Hire me as your GM. Hire me as your head coach. Let's hire these guys. And so that was pretty daunting if you're like a top player, if you're like one of the best players in the scene, where you go, there's a limited amount of teams and rosters available. And obviously everyone wants to make it through the Overwatch League, but it's not meritocratic in that they're picking up the best players. And so there was only a handful of teams, I think, that actually did tryouts. And Philadelphia Fusion was one of them. I think Philadelphia Fusion did like extended trials at the time. They tried like freaking everybody. It was huge, took like weeks. And I got to play in the Philadelphia Fusion trials. But I had no practice. I wasn't on a team. And so I'm in a pretty stupid scenario where I don't have any recent practice with a team. And as you all know, as everyone here can relate to, if you haven't been playing Overwatch for 3 weeks, you are gonna be worse when you log into the game. There's going to be a bit of a period where you have to like warm up, where you have to like get back to where you were previously. And you lose, especially if you don't scrim in an environment, you lose a lot of tempo. Like you're just not able to process the game as well as you once used to. And you're just going to be on the back foot a little bit. So I didn't have like an environment where I could scrim and prepare myself for the warm-ups and the tryouts. So I remember in Denver, I would Uber to an internet cafe in Denver just so I could play the game because I didn't have a PC in my hotel room. And I would just queue ranked. And so I would sometimes duo with Avast, believe it or not, in 2017. And me and Avast were like, we need to get good at the game so we can get on an Overwatch League roster. And I went on the biggest fucking lose streak I've ever been on with Avast. I swear, we went from like 44.50 to like 41.50. I lost 300 SR in like 2 days. And I was like, well, I guess this is not working out. And so I go into this Philadelphia Fusion trial, and they're trialing like Fraggy. I mean, Fraggy obviously made the roster. But they're trialing like all the EU talent. Because all the other teams, they've already picked up their rosters that sometimes don't make sense. And so everyone who's not on an Overwatch League roster, they're just trialing for Philly. And so Philly had like pick up the what's it called? Pick up the litter. They could literally pick up like all the top players in Europe. They could pick out anyone they wanted to. And they got Carpe from FaZe. And so I do poorly in the trials. I think I trialed like 3 sessions or something like that. And they were like, sorry, you're not advancing to the next stage. You know, in hindsight, no big surprise. I'd fallen off so dramatically after not being on a team because instead I prioritized being an analyst. So that was obviously like really, that felt really tough. I really wanted to play in the Overwatch League. But obviously, clearly, I'd fallen off tremendously and I was just average Grandmaster at the game now. And lost some of that, right? And so I signed up to do the Overwatch League. I don't work the 2018 World Cup. And, you know, I'm like, I'll just be broadcast talent instead. I guess I'll just be broadcast talent because it's a gig. And that was pretty exciting. So, fast forward.
You wanted a blockbuster match? Time to break out the fancy.
The Overwatch League is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Coming out on top in a lot of these engagements. Alpine's starting to feel it. This might be the go signal for Seoul Dynasty now.
Zephyr, Mono,
No resurrection.
Toby.
No second chances. This is some close quarter stuff. Toby's waiting in line to show the world what he's made of. And it seems to have done the job. That's a pure 1v1.
And I'm joined by some of the biggest
Chris
minds in
Pocket.
all of Overwatch Esports. We got
Sideshow.
the former
It's me in another pastel shirt.
now professional
I might have gotten a haircut here, I'm not sure. And Zoe.
tank breaker downer. It's reinforced in the center, and Zoe, our insider, is back in action. And
We're here.
already. We have seen
We're so back.
ridiculous matches here in week 3.
Yeah, we absolutely have.
Father.
Los Angeles play out as well. With Valiant being able to take the win in a reverse sweep.
Guys, we're almost not.
Absolutely nuts
Oh,
game.
look at this. Look at this guy.
That makes Valiant the
Look at
whole-
all these signs. No healers, we die. Buff Lucio. Let Torbjorn. Is this Let Torbjorn wall run? The wall ride or the wall climb? They figured it out.
I think they got it.
Sorry, I just
right
thought.
now.
Oh,
Johnny,
sorry, I'm
but
blocking
the
Zoe.
upsets kept coming.
Oh, look at it. It's Smug Widowmaker. I think this was a moon emote. Everyone used this. Moon playing Brodog. Good times.
Yesterday.
They certainly did.
I still have an accent. But I'm still just wearing this like very basic shirt. We're so polished. We're gonna be on TV. You know, we got the funfair. Yeah, everything was super polished. We're still like we're gonna be the big leagues. Wow, this accent is so cringe. I'm losing it.
That the Seoul Dynasty is now the only team which is still undefeated, and who knows, maybe that's going to change today.
No claps in here, no applause. No one loves Seoul.
2-0 score, and now instead they're running the risk of actually finishing 0-2.
Yeah,
But it's just funny looking back at it now, like how polished it was, and how formal it was, and how pretty strict it was. And I think what you'll quickly notice as we get to the later years is that we kind of move away from this like very polished look. What are we playing? Oh, it's Mercy meta. Moth meta. Similar casting with Hex. Kuki, Munchkin, Toby, Rije Hong, Sunba, and Fleta. Oh, Fleta. Saibiolbi, Mano, Meko, Jonak, or Calibro. What a matchup.
Onto the Pharah who's using them, or dropping one of the Winston shields, and that splash damage will kill him as well. So far, Libero has been up to the task of dealing with Fleta in the
Pharah? Yo, Pharah.
Was able to use his own barrage.
What a treat.
Mercy. Both teams are nearing their ultimates, which are of the gravest.
Holy Meko, did he retire? Didn't he play for like Houston Outlaws in 2020 and then he just disappeared? Didn't he get like a fat contract with Houston Outlaws? I can't remember. Pop off, Kuki. Pop off. Okay, look, you can watch 3 seconds of this primal and you're like, my god. The mechanics. Mano Roadhog. Roadhog Diva. Wow, this is so cursed.
To withstand it.
So we got the Overwatch League 2018. And then
Welcome everyone, I'm Golden Boy, the host of
2018 World Cup.
Try to boast, and I'm joined by some incredible people
It's
here.
me, Sideshow, Bren, and Golden Boy.
We got Reinforced, we got the Sideshow himself. Guys, this is going to be such an amazing time. Look at these absolute gentlemen here. So
I'm gonna remove myself.
We don't need Sideshow at all.
I always like to root for them, and I mean, in this situation, I've been living in the United States of America for quite some time now, and for that reason, I am actually going to be going with the United States of America today.
Yeah.
I'm going against my home crowd.
I've seen this before.
Or am I?
Monty did this to me before.
Or am I?
Not again.
Or am I? Oh, no, not even I'm coming to the United States of America. USA all the way. Bless this country. I'm trying to get myself a green card. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm sat here with an American flag on my chest, but you do know that I did always have faith in the boys.
Stylosa.
In the red, blue, and white. Team UK.
The red, white, red, white, blue, and white, whatever. It's just the same colors. It's just the same colors as America. Oh well. Siri, you okay? You okay? Is this upsetting to you?
I'm not actually
3 shirts.
Thank you so much, and I do agree. As a matter of fact, I am rather beautiful.
Just Golden Boy on the desk, though.
That's right. Look at this. Look how gorgeous I am. I'm just
on 2.
I just the honor.
Oh, I can't roll that. Can't roll that. Copyright.
Hit up DJ Khaled. So
We got Mitch here in an Australia matchup.
He's got a long career ahead of him as a high. It's gonna be great. I can't wait to crack it when the Aussies win.
Crack open the
This is my death.
oh, what is it called? Chewy? Crack open the Chewy? Good times. This was I mean,
And there's a shoe
just
on my desk.
just an amazing time working with these guys. They were trying to roast me here because I did get to play for Sweden, and it was me, Twig, Sharp, Manhattan, Ludde, and Chips Hyen. I got to play in the 2018 World Cup, and then this was my last event. And I said, this is my last event. We didn't qualify for the World Cup. We lost to China, which 2018 was the year Chinese Overwatch really popped off. and we had to play China in our group in the qualifiers, and we lost to them because at this point their team was insane, just that no one realized it yet. I think they had like Eileen, Leave, Gushui. It might have been a bit too early for one or two of those, but it was a sick team anyway. And so we had the unfortunate luck of playing them, and then we lost to Australia as well. So we got beat by this team actually. Trillpunk, CKM, Costa, Kraken. And so we didn't qualify, but this was our last event. Mitch decided to mock me about it on the desk as well and just cut out highlights where I died. Great time. Thank you for that, Mitch. Really appreciate that. But we had to beat Denmark though, so we beat Denmark in our last match, and so that's always something that I can hold to my heart forever. So this was my last time playing as a pro player. I got to play for Team Sweden in 2018. And after this point on, I was just like, I'm just broadcast talent. Now, after this event, I was like, oh, I'm broadcast talent. Great time. Unfortunately, I didn't get rehired as broadcast talent. So now I'm neither a pro player or broadcast talent. And so they bring me up as a producer, and I just show up sporadically. I show up from time to time, and I was really pushing to be back. I'm working behind the scenes in production, and I'm helping out with the game. I'm building like research packages for the rest of the talent, and I'm just using like my skill set, my analysis, to try and help behind the scenes to make the show better, to make production better. And if anyone needed help with the game, I was there. They could ask me questions, stuff like that. And so there was a big public outcry about it. I was like, I won't be returning. People were like, get Johnny again. And so they rehired me as a producer, essentially, because the community came out and wanted to help me out, essentially. So I didn't get rehired as talent, but they rehired me as like a producer to help out behind the scenes. So the community got me a job. The community, I'm very grateful that they voiced support for me at that time after I had lost, my gig as a broadcast talent and as a pro player as well. And so Nate came out and he had to like respond. He had to respond to this whole thing and been like, okay, community, we're finding a way to get Johnny back. And so they got me a producer gig, which, I was incredibly grateful for. I got to stay with the Overwatch League in 2019. And while I didn't appear on broadcast as much, there were a few segments. I did. And I was always, I was at every broadcast day. I was in the production room and I was helping like the observers a little bit with like calling shots for the game. And I was helping the producers also live and just like telling them like, if they had questions, I was there anyway. And so, but I was always trying to push to be back on broadcast. I was like, hey, let me do this. Let me go on the camera and do this. Let me join Watchpoint and do this segment. Because at this point, it was consistent 4 of Pocket Zoe, Brennan Sideshow. That was like the desk at that time. So we came up with the power rankings. And I was like, I'm just going to do my power rankings. And I came on the desk. I don't know why they're not playing from the slideshow.
It's good to be here.
Good to be here. All right. Well,
actually, this was the first thing I did here. Where I was like, I have an idea.
So I'm really curious.
I'm going to be Johnny the Wise. And I just, these guys didn't know this was happening.
What the hell is this? I do know that we're being joined by former main tank for Rogue
and so I dressed up as a wizard. And I was like, this is a segment for me. In the post-show, I'll show up as a wizard. And I'll just be a character. Because I just wanted to get back on camera and, obviously work as a broadcast analyst. And it was a great time. The producers let me on. They were like, run with it. This is your bit. Have fun with it. And I got to give some takes. So I had a book. I got a book and I put down my takes in this book. And then I would show them. And then in the preseason, Sideshow had put Paris at number 17. And so I had to roast him for it. And so I set that up. And then I had some different takes. I don't this is probably some dumb take. So I'll just come on and give takes on as a character, as Johnny the Wise, on the post show. And then I said that, okay, 12-man roster would lead to struggles for Shock. Turn out they won the 2019 season. So Another L for me. Another L take for me. Whoops. Story of my career right there. But it was fun because I got to come on the desk and I just gave like preposterous task. Gesture will underperform on Reinhardt. Now, London Spitfire did suck in the GOATS meta, so at least this one I was pretty right about. So we kind of got started here with like saying hot takes and kind of preposterous shit and just have fun with it. Enter, as I said earlier, we did the power rankings. So this is actually me. This is not Johnny the Wise. And I would come on and I'd present my power rankings. And I'd be like, I'm behind the scenes. Here's my power rankings. And then they would roast me for it. And I had done this segment, I think, on my Twitter for some time, or like a blog or something like that, just to keep track of it. And so we kind of just like, what if you just did this in the post show? And then we could talk about your power rankings. And so this was the extent of like my broadcast career in 2019. Johnny the Wise was such a funny bit. Thank you. Number 2, San Francisco Shock fall from number 1 spot. Wait, what were these rankings like actually? Should we roast these rankings now? San Francisco Shock, Vancouver Titans. This is stage 3, by the way. So this is like already halfway through the regular season. And I'm like, please, let me call out on the post show. And so it took like 3 stages for me to really get to get back on the broadcast here. Hydro Spark, New Excelsior. This very much looks like I don't know. Is there anything out of whack here? Atlanta Rain, maybe? Where'd the hat come from? No, I just bought it on Amazon. I just bought it all on Amazon. Old Sombra. That looks pretty good. I mean, if we go back and look, there's probably something out of whack here. I know Hangzhou did well in the playoffs, so Shanghai Dragons 5. They would win stage 3 actually, playing triple DPS, right? So they would end up winning it. So there's 2019 for you. And enter 2020.
It is time for our hero pool for week 9, and we're gonna do this
COVID
the
hits.
right way. It's gonna be done.
Now on the desk, Brennan Sideshow are casters, and actually, let's start with this clip.
Fun fact from that period of time as well is I think there would have been a
Jake could have named someone else other than me. Of course, an enormously.
So this is a recent clip from Avril's stream
you talked the ideas
or
like,
interview.
Who do people love, etc. I think Nate had just departed at that point, but Jake casting duo, period. Who does he go with? And Jake was like, "Look, I've worked really well with ZP. Get me involved." And also, initially they were offering someone else to cast with Jake. I'm not gonna go into. Avast had put on an entirely good product going in there. Where, funny enough, obviously not my story, but we've talked about it. I think on a Avast stream at some point. So for completion's sake, if you haven't heard it. There was a lot of people that were very on the idea of like, well, at the very least, like Avast should be on desk. Like he's been such a good broadcast talent the entire year. He did get a desk offer for 2020. However, it was only 80,000, which was like which was kind of the starting OWL salary from season 1. The problem is that because they didn't give the desk offer to Avast at the same time everyone else got the offers, like they had to be arm twisted into it. Avast at that point had sought out other things to do and had gotten like an offer to do content creation for Envy. As you remember, you had the Envy Jane show and other stuff for like $85K a year. Avast still wanted to do OWL, but given the fact that he would have had to move to LA, which is way higher cost of living, he rightly went to them and said, look, I'll do it, but you guys gotta need to come up to at least 100K. I'm not going to take less money to move to LA and get absolutely destroyed on prices just to do OWL. And instead of bringing Vast on, where there just would have been a bigger desk that year, they just said, nah, well, we'll use casters as like guest analysts instead. And they did not go up $20,000. But if they had, $20,000 is all it would have taken to get into the timeline where Avast is doing desk. And with as good as Avast is as a personal talent and how funny he is and just, I think, what he brings to that environment, he would still probably be on desk to this day. If that
20K was the difference between Avast working the desk and me not getting the talent offer for 2020. But Avast turned it down and I'm back. That's a sliding doors moment for you. So with Brennan Sideshow going to cast, and them needing someone to be on the desk, I've asked choose the Envy thing instead, and I got the desk offer because they were just like, we need someone for the desk. So I guess thank you, I've asked. But I could very much have just been on like a producer path at this point and just continue being a producer, and I wouldn't have been here today. So you know, without Avast making that decision, things would have looked very different. And it was just apparently like 20k, which I didn't know, that separated that. What's up, Kinsale? Thank you, Steph Don. I'm glad to be back too. So it's me, Costa, and Zoe during COVID, and we had a great desk in downtown LA. I had got an apartment in downtown LA and then COVID hit, and they're like, we can't do a studio anymore because it's not safe with COVID. And so we entered the online era. And here's the Avast co-stream, by the way. And
do not ban Ana.
We have hero pools. There's no hero bans, but there's hero pools. And so each week on the desk, we randomly select heroes that are banned from like the game. And you can't play those heroes in the coming week. So weekly rotating hero pools. So all the pros, all the teams tune in for this broadcast, for this moment. And 1 week we had nowhere to select.
There we go. That was it.
Wait, we got one?
Brick is out.
Oh, thank God.
And everyone's just rooting for bad heroes to get removed from the show.
Nice saved. Johnny, who do you want to see out of this one?
Take a wild guess, Mr. Scott Kennedy.
May, please.
You just need to pick the May.
Come on, pick the May.
Pick the May.
Everyone wants May banned because May has been meta for like a month or two. Everyone wants May to get banned, and so is Cat.
Sorry, look at any card. Make it May. Oh, okay. There we go.
May!
May! It was May!
It's just the one!
No, it didn't!
May!
Oh! Oh! Oh, bring it up. Let's get the cheers. Yes! Yes!
Oh my God!
Nori is the hero we need but don't deserve. It's finally happened.
You're a hero and a scared.
Yes!
Cheering. The whole alley do be cheering.
I don't think anybody can doubt the system anymore.
Oh my God! So that was a wild time. Working the desk in 2020. I got to work with Scott. It was so much fun. I freaking love Scott. I consider him obviously one of my best friends. Like, I just freaking love that guy. And working the desk with him was just an absolute treat. What's up, Kava guy? But it was online, which sucked. It sucked. All the players from all the teams, you know, we used to be in this same spot in Los Angeles. And, you know, as talent, we could just like walk into practice rooms, hang out with players, talk to players. And we were all in the same spot in Los Angeles. And suddenly, all the teams were spread out. They had their own places all around the world, and the desk was online, and everything just spread out. Everything just spread out. And I think it's fair to say that at this point, the kind of mood shifted a little bit because of like how things changed so drastically. I think, you know, obviously because the teams were like in different rooms and places all over the world, we spent less time with players. We had less opportunity to bring players on the broadcast and stuff like that. And, you know, there were no like live events, obviously, because you couldn't hold those anymore. And during COVID, things just kind of like, I don't know what the right word is, but it was just unfortunate, I think, in how it just changed like the entire broadcast dynamic and yeah, the momentum, I guess you could say, we had. And I think it, you know, yeah, it just really changed things. So it was a crazy year. So for me personally, power rankings return, but it's during COVID. I'm in downtown LA by myself, and honestly, I'm kind of losing it a little bit. I'm doing this segment by myself. I'm no longer doing it with other people on the desk. And I have to show up every week and do power rankings. Where they can beat any team in the league, just like they were one map away from beating Shanghai Dragons in the APAC May Melee finals. So it was a bit of an improvement. But still, the rest of the competition in APAC is just absurd. Anyway, I think you can see here, I look very tired. I look very tired. It was it was a crazy time. Hello, Vega. The reason I was so tired is because things changed a little bit when it came to like things I had to do. So not only did I do the power rankings, so we would work Thursday through Sunday. And we do the broadcast. We do the show day on Sunday, and I do the power rankings. But also, I would do this segment. Welcome to another episode of Playbook. And in this episode, we'd like to highlight the importance of crucial hero adaptation that can lend you the winning edge in any Overwatch game. This time around, we'll be taking a look at, in my opinion, one of the best rounds of strategic Overwatch in quite a while, with both Atlanta and Philadelphia proving their game's expertise. Look, I'm not gonna say I'm one of the best voice actors in the world. Your voice sounds so different here. Let's just say, I mean, I had different audio equipment. I was just using like one of the broadcast headsets, and I don't think it was EQ'd, the same way, and then you have to render differently. But like now I'm using a different mixer. It's EQ'd. It's a different mic, so it's a bit different in that regard. But I'd have to do one of these videos. The round we'll be taking a look at is Sanctuary. Sound like Masa? Yeah, I kind of do actually. And after squaring off against Philadelphia's May and Torbjorn composition on both downtown. I sound so nasally. Like what's going on? And Mecha Base. Take shots from afar with great line of sight. And Edison will be able to both negate Car-Based Tracer and this was a lot of fun. But without much of a threat to him. Did Tech just send you a clip that you had to comment on, or do you have to clip the matches as well? No, so I wrote the script. I picked the moments and I wrote the script. And so I had to do the power rankings and do the script for the power rankings and do the script for this on the same Sunday, because the turnaround with the editing was so fast. So we do this weekly. Down the troops of Philadelphia without facing much damage from Lucio or Moira. That being said, Philadelphia are not slouches, and they will not accept the fight. But anyway, I just look back at this a bit sometimes, and I'm like, the quality kind of suffered because I had to like rush this so much. So I'm not as proud of this work as I probably should be. I think this is one of my. Instead, they take matters into their own hands. I think this is one of my better ones, but I didn't like the quality of this because I felt like I had to rush through it. Do not doubt this guy's versatility. And that went for both the power rankings and this this playbook segment. So the hamster pick anyway. Philadelphia in two major ways. Number one from his pile driver and his adaptive shields. Taking a look at the map overhead, we can see Fury is already on the move, rolling around in his ball on the outskirts of the map, clearing the area for any Atlanta players. Baby Bay acknowledges the Wrecking Ball pick and is forced to stay with his team as he won't be able to avoid Fury on his lonesome. Finally, Philadelphia's advantage really starts to shine. Carpe comes in from one angle, Fury joins in from another with a nice pile driver, and then May is just going to do May things on the point. A near impossible. Anyway, it was pretty crazy, but it was pretty different from 2019. Are you still an analyst this year? Wasn't too clear in the announcement. I think my role will change a little bit this year. Things change. I think things will look a bit different. I don't think I will be strictly an analyst. I'm not too quite sure how. You won't see me for most of the regular season. I'll be on a bit more sporadically, I suppose. Like show up here and there. It might be about the same amount or slightly less than last year. And I might do a little bit more casting and maybe a little bit less analysis work. We'll see. We'll see. But I think things will be a little bit different from last year. So don't just set expectations. Don't expect kind of like the same thing, just running it back. I think it'll be a little bit different, and I think you'll see after a few weeks to a month, probably. So yeah, enter 2021. Things are different once more. Who is on the desk this year? I think the idea of the desk is kind of to be interpreted. I wouldn't say there's a traditional desk, as it were. Are you happy enough with how things are 2025? I feel extremely blessed, to be part of the broadcast talent team. Because I do recognize that very few people in the scene actually get to work the broadcast and be part of the talent team. And so in that regard, I feel extremely lucky to be in the position I am. And I'm very excited to be back for another year. Is it still the same location since you guys had to possibly leave? It's going to be a different location. Thank you, Steph. Thank you for the tier 1. Thank you for the performance. I appreciate it. Very pragmatic answer, but I'm happy that you're happy. Yeah, I mean, I'm very stoked to return. Same production company? Yeah, it's still the same production company. Yeah. So anyway, enter 2021. It's me, Costa. We got Danny, and we're still doing like the remote broadcast. So I'm doing this from my office, but we're working with green screens, and it's a bit of a we kind of like things are now very different from 2018, 2019. Where it's more of this stuff.
Welcome to the Owl News.
Not all the time, but
we bring you the latest about the
we do this on a weekly basis.
They make me read this. Crossplay is now available for Overwatch, and while it's been fun to play with console players, it's been absolutely devastating to hear how many adolescent boys have had relations with my mother. Now, Costa with the weather.
We have cloudy with a chance of monkey. What? Is that a storm coming in? Is that Johnny the Hack? Get out of here! Get out! Roadhog's not even meta anymore. What's the point? That's the meta report. Thank you very much, Danny. What have you got for us? Boy, what?
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Okay, it seems we've hit a donation goal for Boston ASMR. Boston, you're so good. You're wicked good. You've got me uprising.
There are many ways to butter.
Jesus. Are you excited for the future of Overwatch? February 12th, what are your expectations? Do you think it will make esports better? I'm very excited about this year for Overwatch as a whole. I really am. Spoilers of what's to come. Slamming that syrup? No, that was Sideshow. Sideshow drank the syrup. Scott had the surströmming. You got me uprising? Yeah, that was something. So Hex did a lot of the creative work when it came to this. So we had 2 producers. Hex was like the assistant producer. And Hex did a lot of like the creative writing for these segments and stuff like that. And so we kind of tried to do these once a week for the broadcast. But yeah, anyway, to go back to Nick's question. Yeah, I'm really excited about the Overwatch. And I'm excited about the broadcast too. I think the Overwatch broadcast is heading in the right direction for where it needs to be in 2025. I think so I guess my kind of point here is that what you're seeing here, and because we had to work online and do a lot of like virtual shows, I think we kind of you could look at this individually and be like, this is fantastic content, this is really entertaining, this is fun, and I think you can kind of like that's I think that's right. I think it was really entertaining. I think a lot of fans, they did like this. But I also think we did a lot of this entertaining, fun stuff, and we spent less time promoting like the rest of the community. It was harder for us to have like, and I don't mean us as in like, obviously I'm not in, I was just an analyst. Like I'm not in charge of the broadcast or anything. But I do wish we had like more players on, more coaches on, but it was so much harder because it was virtual, like, right? And It was just different at the time. So I think this year you're going to see that the broadcast will implement more or highlight more the community and the people who make the community, and I think it'll move away a little bit from being like separate, you know.
My rectangle.
But this was also fun.
Chengdu hunters. I must banish you back to when.
Is a pelican. Pelican is the bird who was promised. He will carry the Atlanta rain to victory in their formidable jaws.
I cannot conceive of it!
No Danny Limbs or making watch points. Scott Kennedy is not a licensed meteorologist and his mustache is fake.
Chat has literally died of cringe. Rascal, right? Is that tier? Yeah, one of my proud moments. Oh, the Gladiator. The Gladiator throwback. So yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But we're kind of just doing our own thing in 2021, I guess. It was weird. It was weird doing remote broadcasts like that. Anyway. Onwards. It's 2022 and I couldn't get live videos on here. Oops. So in 2022, we're no longer online, but we have a truck. We have a mobile studio, and it's the Overwatch League truck, but it's a truck that doesn't move. Instead, it's just on Blizzard campus, and so we would just do the desk from the Blizzard campus. And this is during Hawaii. We're working in the evening. This is, yeah, from the outside. There you go as well. And so 2022 is the first year of 5v5. Overwatch 2 wasn't actually out at this time, but the pros still played 5v5. Like, isn't that freaking bonkers to think about? That the players were playing in an unreleased... this is a PowerPoint? Yeah, it's a PowerPoint. The players were playing an unreleased version of the game, and we could just watch people play 5v5, but the rest of the game was 66, which also means that... players who were benched and stuff, they couldn't even practice the game, because if they wanted to practice outside of scrim hours, they could just play 6v6 Overwatch, which was pretty bonkers. So now we have now at least we're in person. We're in person. But this is the extent we got. So this is the mid-season Madness Grand Finals. We got Overly was a guest host. And I don't know, we're wearing something here. This truck was so small. I could barely fit in this truck. This is where Scott slammed the syrup. Oh, you're right. You're right. During the Toronto series, right? Yeah, maple syrup. The Toronto homestand or something like that.
We're looking snazzy. We thought about the onesies again, and then we were like, no, we should be professional. So we wore whatever this is.
Amazing.
I'm just a little bummed that
is Johnny under NDA? Yes, I am. Which I think I can say if I'm not under NDA.
You look incredibly professional, though.
Yeah, you do.
Professional?
Yeah.
I think I just look shiny, and look, I have a pocket.
I thought it was a swanky on-campus studio. Yeah, it was cool, but I think... I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you guys disagree. It was pretty... claustrophobic? I don't know. Because this was the entire shot. This... I mean, there were like a few cameras or like single shots of stuff like that, right? But it was pretty claustrophobic in that, like, this was... We were just in this truck the entire time. And then sometimes, you know, we'd ring up people if we wanted to have them on air. So this was cool in its own right.
You can put your peanut butter. So I wanted this.
The Watchies Awards. Player I'd most like to ban, Shy. This was when Shy popped off on the Sojourn. I was cooming on air. Here we go. Good old days of Overwatch League. I mean, look at this. This was peak meta as well. This was the best tournament in Overwatch history. The mid-season madness was awesome. It was just so many teams. The double elimination bracket, the meta. This was peak.
And there it is. Big difference maker here on the Tracer so far, but the rest of the Reign are keeping the Gladiators quiet here, Matt.
Yeah, Hawk gets Patty right before he gets taken out, though, and that is huge. You lose the Sojourn. There's so much free damage to be had by the long-range hit scan over the middle of this point.
But I think it's fair to say that in hindsight, things are weird. We went from like COVID to having a studio in downtown LA, and then everything is remote in 2020. Then everything is remote from our offices or offices, I mean like our homes in 2021. And we do like skits and, you know, fun segments, stuff like that. And then this is 2022, and we're playing a version of the game that's not released. No one could play this game. It was just you could just watch the pros play 5v5. Overwatch 2 wasn't out yet. Things were weird. You know, at this time in 2020, you could go outside, you could hang out with your friends, schools were back, you know, we were kind of restored from COVID, but things were weird.
Run this back pretty fast and take over. And oh, that's going to be Patty with a nice shot on OG, though, at range.
OG just getting caught out in the open, and yet Hawk still wants...
Strange time because you guys sometimes get sick. Yeah, I mean, if you got COVID, you were out for 2 weeks. I remember Costa was like out for the first week of 2022 because he got COVID, I think, a week before the broadcast started, and he was just out for like 2 weeks.
So patient holding on to some of these ultimates, and they come into that one, they end up using the meteor strike and the nano boost, and they
but yeah, Venom, remember Venom on Tracer? Wow, good times. So I think 2022 was like a fun year from competition standpoint. We still had home stands, you know, I think we're in Dallas, Toronto, Hawaii. So it was a lot of fun, but it was weird. We were playing this version of the game that wasn't out yet, and the finals was really good. The finals was really good in Irvine. The playoffs was spectacularly fun, and obviously we had that massive grand finals between San Francisco Shock and Dallas Fuel. Map 7 banger. Kiriko had just came out. They announced Ramakra. And Overwatch 2 was kind of just like kicking off, right? So I'd say the quality of the games was really enjoyable. We had that Jotes meta, which I personally really disliked, but but overall, it was a really fun tournament. I think the first one in May Melee, it was like a Zarya Reaper meta until it wasn't, and then Gladiators won it, of course. Padifan had like a huge moment, and Gladiators won it all. I forgot about these. Where are we at? Okay, I have a bunch of clips here. Oh, some music and stuff. All right. So this is 2022. Onwards to 2023. It's Jake now. Costa goes to cast, and he said Jake, after being a caster, and then he went back to coach, and now he's back on the broadcast. But Costa becomes a caster, and now it's us. We're in Burbank. We're in the studio.
What's up, everyone? I am Zoe. He's Danny. He's Jake. He's Johnny. And we got a great day of Overwatch coming your way. One down, many more to go. How are you guys feeling?
Great.
Good. Awesome.
Fantastic. Surprise announcement on talent this year? Yeah, they released it today, actually. And I'm back. We're so back. That studio was so good, man. Yeah, so it was a fun time. We're back in a studio. We have access to a telestrator again. We didn't have a telestrator in 2020, 21, 22. So we couldn't do any like drawing analysis, stuff like that. But going back to the studio, at the end of like 2022, the mood everywhere was just like, please put it in a studio. Like everyone was just like, we need to get in a studio. People were just crying for it. I was just like, I can't draw, I can't do analysis. We don't have any tools. And so we finally get to do the studio in 2023. and opened up the possibility to do some of those segments again. We had some more tools to work with, and it was just a treat. It felt like we were at least somewhat getting back to like the 2019 vibe, even though obviously the teams weren't close to us and we didn't have access to the teams and players in such a way. I do think we invited, I can't exactly remember, but I do think we invited some coaches and players to the show and stuff like that sometimes, so... What is this, Danny? I don't even remember this. What are we doing here? Oh, it's a bingo card. We're playing bingo.
Alright, let's do...
So yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Unfortunately, guys, this was the last year of the Overwatch League. New York Excelsior, Fit, Psycho, Kellen, Creative Halo. F indeed. What's up, Swirly? So, dare I say, it was a weird year working the show, and then you would just like wake up one day to like news articles of just like Chengdu were like, we're out. Chengdu were like, we're gone. Like we're out. We're not fielding a roster, and you're like, okay, this is weird. It's pretty weird. One of the teams were just like, we're out. At least Valiant were in NA this year. Dallas Fuel is playing in the Eastern region this year. Dallas Fuel, a Western fan favorite team, they decided we're not gonna play in North America. We're gonna play in Korea. But yeah, you just wake up and it'd be like, the Overwatch League might go under. It might be the last year of the Overwatch League. And so it was a weird year. But again, I think a lot of fun to follow. We had a really long Sombra meta for like half the year, right? Because Slip was just dominating on Sombra. But yeah, we were vibing, I suppose. The ultimate Doomer pendulum year between Dopen and Despair. Yeah, I think it's pretty weird. It was pretty weird. No one knew what was really gonna happen. I remember that hype match when Florida Mayhem they qualified for the mid-season madness and someone popped off anyway. The finals anyway. The finals were great in Toronto. So much fun being in Toronto, but then obviously we had to say goodbye at the end. What's that? Overwatch League montage. I don't even know where you'd find this. End of Overwatch League. Okay, the biggest disaster in esports history. Final words. Okay, I don't think we're gonna listen to the entire Zoe speech, but
you deserve it. Absolutely. Well, and that means the deploy back and forth.
More than that, it's the way he
support. You were the lifeblood of this league. You made this so much more than just a gaming community. This was family. You are
so everyone knew it was over. we didn't say it was over, but everyone knew it was over, and so we prepared a golden speech. Everyone is gathering.
Through victories and defeats. And now that we close this chapter, I think we should all just look back at it and remember the moments that took our breath away. We have to remember the friendships we got to form and the lessons that we learned. So from all of us,
I'm crying. Jake is crying.
From the bottom of our hearts for being a part of this incredible journey. It's been an honor, a privilege, and a joy to share this experience with all of you. Thank you so much.
Half the venue was crying by the end of this? Yeah. How did she not cry? Because Zoe is the GOAT.
Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
And the quest for a champion begins today.
The anticipation has been building, and it is finally time. We are live.
Are you ready?
The Moth Lucio. The music. This is. Oh my god, this was the most epic thing I've ever seen. Triobin, Fearless.
That is a really. Can you get over the roof there? Oh my. Oh my, what a play, what a grab! Another jump here off the high ground. Super goes forward, but gets stuck.
The Mercy Block.
Comes in, and Ding, he rains down hell from above. Here comes
Mercy Block was a different clip, actually.
Gets one, gets two.
Pine.
Looking for a bit more, gets another one.
Profit.
Disaster generally for the Fusion, and Carpe wasn't far behind. Profit! He's killed 4 players now on his own! From Vancouver, locks him in the sound barrier. Sound the bomb coming from China! Oh my god! He does it again!
Flutter now moving onto the Widowmaker, taking the clutch into his own hands. The headshot after headshot after headshot.
Oh my god, that handling clutch on the Queen. Oh! That was so sick. Jonak. Lee J gone. Sure for on the Widow. Merit 3k. Collateral. McGravy. Shy. Oh my goat. Pelican Anso. Sparkle Genji. Lip. Dante Doom. Man, this is right in the feels. Makes you sad for what could and should still be happening. Hopefully there was something like this in the OWCS. Season 1 striker, Season 1 striker. Him versus Saibiovi, what a Tracer rivalry. Goats in the arena. Snillo Pillow. Talent takedown. Carl? Was that Carl? Seagull hugging Seagull?
I'm the best Tracer in the world.
I mean, you could have told me that you spoke English, honestly.
The fans never thought they'd see this day. It took 43 matches.
Shanghai's first win.
Feels like a really emotional moment here.
The dab. The pine dab. Alarm or goat. And that was the end of that. That was the end of the Overwatch League. It came and it went. Some incredible, some just amazing years. So much fun was had. And all you gotta do is really just, you know, appreciate that we got the opportunity to see what Overwatch looks like when they just throw fucking millions and millions of dollars on top of the esport. What do you work with now? I have a bit of a part-time gig going on, but then of course they announced today that I'm also working on OWCS 2025 this year. So I got essentially like 2 part-time jobs. One of them being Overwatch OWCS. It was so awesome to be part of something like that. Yeah, that was honestly you know, something I'll get to reflect on the rest of my life. It was such an amazing thing to be part of, really. And I think all of you in chat, just seeing how you guys react as well, it's just so many amazing memories involved with the Overwatch League. And you know, I lost my audio. I know I post a lot of like nostalgia and like old clips and things that some people are like, stop, you know, reflecting on the past or whatever. But I don't care. I loved it. I love the stories. I love the moments, the highlights, the players, the teams. I love this freaking thing. And I'll probably keep reflecting on it for the rest of my life. It was such an incredible journey. Something so incredible to be part of. And I guess kind of like the overarching point is like, you kind of saw what happened when like COVID dropped. It like just changed everything so spectacularly when it came to the broadcast. But like you can look back at 2018 and 2019 and like that was freaking sick in the Blizzard Arena. You know, it was so awesome to be able to have all the players and the teams in one spot and get to hang out with them, make friends. Like we would do the show, and then one time I remember like we would go to the Fusion House and we'd watch the Super Bowl, we'd play poker together, just hang out, and it was just the most amazing time. Is OWCS not on par with the old Overwatch League? Like, what are the main differences? I mean, the main difference is just, you know, if Overwatch League was franchised, like it was a franchise league, so there was no promotion relegation, and it was very structured in that way. Whereas OWCS is very open. You know, you play in the faced qualifiers, and you can qualify with your mates. So, you know, it's very different in that regard. And I think we're going to see more of that this year, where you know, we're getting back to the roots a little bit. So far in this entire presentation, like I think you've seen, it was very formal. It used to be this way. You can see everyone's wearing jackets, dress shirts, ties. And that was like, you know, the start of Overwatch Esports. It was supposed to be this huge, great, amazing thing. The next big thing in esports. And I think you can kind of see how things progressed over time is that it became way more relaxed over the course of time. And we kind of like found our groove. Like, just look at this. This might be a rehearsal day, actually. No, this was actually a show day, I think. Like, Jake is just wearing a t-shirt, which, you know, you didn't get away with in 2018, 2019. And I think that's a pretty good indication of, like, you know, the vibe and the style of the broadcast and, you know, the main differences. I didn't even get to show this video, but obviously this was last year. This was OWCS. Is there any desk here? Here we go.
No surprises, right? Anything? No?
Danny is hosting. Wow, I didn't realize when I picked this VOD. But it's way more casual, I think you can see. This is way more casual compared to like what I showed you early on with the pastel dress shirts and ties and suits and jackets and all that, right? And I think that's going to continue this year. You don't like that, Siri? Look, it's up to you, Siri. Siri, come here. Say hi. Say hi to the screen. Come here. Come here. I know. I know. Wah. I know. Is Jake wearing the same thing from the year before? Yeah, I mean, I think we all were. Did you guys know that OWL will end soon, or was it just a rushing decision? No, I don't recall ever receiving like word that like, hey, this is the last year. I think it was just kind of like rumored, and it was pretty unclear. And then towards the end of the playoffs, like we kind of just knew. I guess it was more like journalistic reporting. I can't exactly remember. But anyway, that was a little bit of like all the years, all the 10 years until now, and now we're so back. We're so back for another year, and so just being so chill. It's honestly so much fun too, and so yeah, I think as things progress, I think this year is even more than last year. I think it will be way more about community. I think it'll be way more chill, or not way more chill. I shouldn't say way more chill. But I think you're going to see that Overwatch Esports is not trying to be something it isn't. You know, and that started from like way back when obviously we were at on ESPN at one point. I remember being in like a after the finals. We were getting food after the finals in 2018 in Brooklyn, and they were playing like the Overwatch League Grand Finals highlights on ESPN. And I think step by step, as you might have seen in this presentation, we've moved away from that and more into just the scene being about community, the scene being about fans of the game, and just highlighting players, teams, community members, people who are passionate about the game, the scene. And I think we're going to see more this year. So I'm really excited for this year. I think the format is really great. I'm looking forward to see how the format is being played in EMEA and NA, because I think the format last year, like honestly, it was not my favorite. It was not my favorite. With how open things were, the lack of like a structure in like the schedule of the teams. I really appreciate that. Obviously, the format is open. There's open qualifiers through Face It. There's promotion, relegation. But now this year, we're going to go back to more of like a round robin kind of style, right? And, you know, we're going to see these teams play each other on set match days and stuff like that, right? And so I'm really excited for this year. I think the format this year is better than it was last year. I felt like last year in 2024, it was a bit of a transition year. Like obviously coming off the end of the Overwatch League, it was like a whole new thing, right? We went from a franchise league with set teams to the most open possible system with promotion and relegation. And now I think this to me is like the first. I mean, obviously it's not the first year of OWCS, but I think this is OWCS kind of like coming into like fruition, I guess, like the middle ground between, you know, an open system and but still promoting the best teams, promoting partner teams, reoccurring teams, and I think you'll see that it's hopefully more about community and fans of the game and fans of the esport and stuff like that, highlighting players, highlighting coaches. So I'm very much looking forward to be back. And I don't know if that was helpful at all. If that going through history was at any all. Sorry, I can't talk anymore. This presentation was very long. That was enjoyable. It was really hard to keep up with. Yeah, I guess that was what I was trying to say. Like, it was so hard to like follow the esport, and because it was the first year of OWCS, everything had to kind of like, you know, be reintegrated. And I think the fact that, you know, now if you have a favorite team, if you're a fan of Liquid or whatever, you know, hopefully there will be a schedule out and you can just see like when is Liquid playing, what are the match days, what are the match times. All matches will be broadcast, I'm like pretty sure, which they weren't last year. So I think OWCS is really coming into itself, and I'm very much looking forward to this year. I think it's going to be a very fun year for the game, and a very fun year for the esport. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be back. Really disappointed that there aren't Korean English broadcasts. I'm really disappointed there is not a Korean English broadcast either. At least for all games, you know. I forget the wording in the official announcement, right? But there's still an English broadcast for like the playoffs and stuff like that. But, you know, and same thing goes for like the Pacific broadcast. To me, there should be an English broadcast for every single region, you know, Pacific, Japan, Korea. I think it's something you have to do, I think, for the esports to be able to like grow. There's a Korean broadcast button for playoffs, still sucks. Yeah, I think if there's something, you know, that's one thing I would hope that would change in the future, is that there would be an English broadcast for other regions as well. I think it's so much easier for the fans to follow if it's on one single Twitch channel to follow, or one YouTube channel, and it's reliable. You can always tune into that channel if you want to watch all the English broadcasts for all the regions. I just think this makes way more sense for the ease of access to coverage in OWCS. I'm glad we have Avril co-streaming, but it's sad we don't get it to Twitch or YouTube. Yeah, exactly. It's nothing against, you know, people like Avril who co-stream it, but I think it's pretty indisputable that if there was a common stream, a common English stream for all the tournaments and stuff, it'd be way easier for fans to follow, and it'd be easier for fans to get access and find interest in all the different regions, right? So that is something I'd like to see. Hell, even for, you know, Japan, Pacific. And obviously there are like community incentives to get that on the road, but you know, that shouldn't be the state of things in my opinion. So I'm hoping that's something we get in the future. There should be support for that in my opinion. It sounds awkward to phrase it this way, but it feels like we took 2 steps back, 1 step forward last year. And I'm cautiously optimistic that we're taking a step forward this year. Yeah, I think it was a really difficult transition, you know? Like, I think it's really hard to transition from the Overwatch League into an entirely new thing in OWCS last year. And so I'm not surprised that, you know, pretty obviously there were some like, you know, it was a little rough around the edges in certain parts of whether the format or other things, right? And so that's kind of what I'm saying, that this second year of OWCS, I think, will be massive in that, you know, people have learned lessons from last year and are kind of building on that, and are, you know, things will evolve and get better. And so it was a bit of a crazy year last year, and I think things will be better. I think things will be better this year, and I like that. You know, hopefully for like years to come, right? Like, we can continue improving on this. Thank you, Ludicrous Speed, for the Prime. Thank you. Appreciate the sub. 50 subs, Polgers. Thank you, Ludicrous Speed, for being the 50th sub. I was a little nervous with how late the talent announcement was. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's a pretty short break. It was only 2 months. 2 months in Stockholm. So anyway, unless you have any more questions, I'm kind of gonna wrap up this presentation here, and yeah, it's really good to be back. I'm really excited. I think we'll improve this year, and I think OWCS will continue to improve, and I'm excited the direction we're going. I'm excited the direction of how the esports is kind of going. I'm excited for the PvP announcement in a few weeks. Last question is, Series Pop named after Witcher? Yes, Yamis. It's named after The Witcher. By my wife. My wife is a huge Witcher fan.